Get on board the Bernier bus train. Come get on board the Bernier bus train. Once you hear that clickety-clack, there ain't no time for turning back. Oh, get on board the Bernier bus train.
The Bernie or Bust movement acknowledges the true pain and misery that neoliberalism has caused to working class people over at least the last 70 years. Do you? Getting rid of Donald Trump will not even put a dent on neoliberalism's fender. If you prefer another candidate to Bernie Sanders and vote for that candidate in the primaries, you will need to acknowledge that you are ensuring another 4 years of Donald Trump. The configuration of the Bernie coalition ensures defeat for any other candidate. Independent voters in swing states are not nearly as likely to vote blue if their lives have been ravaged by NAFTA and other trade agreements. Even though these voters are waking up to the fact that Donald Trump lied to them, they already know from what has happened over at least 40 or 50 years not to trust Democrats. Bill Clinton and Barack Obama have done at least as much as the Reagan and both Bush presidencies to keep them from trusting any establishment candidate. Compare Donald Trump's atrocities with those of any recent president. Go clear back to the Nixon era and trace any substantive differences in the way working class people have been treated by both parties over the years. Bernie or Bust proponents, including Susan Sarandon and other feminists, see through the Clinton-sponsored Bernie Bros AstroTurf narrative. It's hypocritical for corporate centrists to keep beating this dead horse. Cameron Easley, a senior editor at the pollster Morning Consult, said his organization's data do not show a lot of natural crossover between Warren and Sanders supporters, apart from those who classify themselves as extremely or very liberal. In my looking into this, I would call them extremely or very neoliberal. Easley goes on to emphasize that Sanders does not just appeal to people who want the Democratic Party to shift further to the left, but people who just don't like the Democratic Party and the Democratic Party establishment. And that's a big difference with Elizabeth Warren supporters. From Victor Tiffany, the OG of the Bernie or Bust movement, quoted in an article by Newsweek. Bernie or busters, Bernie or Trump swing voters, many of the poor and the poorly educated citizens will not vote for Warren, Biden, or any other Democrat because we need a revolution against the neoliberal order, higher wages, health care insurance, and free college education, respectively. Current polling, such as Real Clear Politics, primarily includes Democrats. Only 29% of voters currently identify as Democrats. Political elites are acting as though half of the country are Democrats in order to sway people and to keep them misinformed. As Victor Tiffany says, we need a revolution against the neoliberal order that includes higher wages, health care coverage for everyone, free college education, saving our planet, an end to imperialism, an end to the mass incarceration, prison industrial complex, a better public education system, and the removal of money from politics. We need to unite behind someone who will do more than pay lip service to these issues through feeble and bad faith attempts to work within the system. We definitely need someone who does not have a daughter working directly to benefit for and lobby for the health insurance industry. We need the Democratic Party to morph into something besides controlled opposition. In stark contrast to the ideas espoused by those who have a plan for that, someone who says that we need simply to persuade the big money interests to do better by the American working class, what we actually need is to dismantle the power structure by removing the inordinate wealth from the few who have been calling the shots over the years, regardless of which political parties, puppets, have been in place. We need to weaponize the labor force through a democratic process that puts U.S. workers in charge of their own destiny. Only one candidate fully intends to do this. Many Republicans, Greens, Libertarians, and Independents will vote for Bernie if he is the nominee, although they will not necessarily change to Democrat to vote in the primary if that is required in their state. That means, to defeat Trump, it will be necessary to ensure that Bernie Sanders is nominated by the DNC. Realistically, as opposed to delusionally, there is no other way to defeat Trump. With the exception of the most hardcore of the never Bernie third-way centrists, who consider a Sanders presidency to be an existential threat to the Democratic Party, and would thus rather vote directly for Trump in the general election than for Bernie Sanders, most well-off suburban centrists would choose Bernie over Trump. If you are reading this or listening to it, here's hoping that you have enough humanity left in your dollar-driven souls to jump on board the Bernie train before the DNC Clinton machine puts this choice beyond your reach. In other words, here's hoping that you understand before the primary elections that neither Biden nor Warren will ever get enough populist support to defeat Donald Trump. Do the math. If you understand the research by Thomas Piketty in the paper Brahmin Left versus Merchant Right, in which he examined 70 years of data regarding how poor and poorly educated people vote, you will understand that you can't just hope that the various components of the Bernie coalition, who will never vote for a corporate candidate, can, quote, come to their senses in time. No time is long enough for that. Both parties have thrown working-class people under the bus for at least 70 years. The day of reckoning is at hand. Either unite behind Bernie or you will get Trump. That is the reality. That is a foregone conclusion. The hand wave won't work here. These points can't be refuted simply by wishing them away. To find out more about these salient points, please visit bernieorbust.info.
Get on board the Bernie or Bust train. Come get on board the Bernie or Bust train. Once you hear that clickety-clack, there ain't no time for turning back.